Let's make sure that whenever a user enters some secret message, we hide that existing form and instead show this stuff over here, also inside of a kind of card element. So let's get to it. I'm going to flip back over to my editor. I'm going to open up my index.html file. And inside of here, we're going to add on a couple of different IDs in some choice locations, and then use those IDs to toggle some visibility on some different elements. So to get started, I'm going to first make sure that my div down here that says share this link with a friend also gets wrapped with a div with a class of card-panel. That's going to make sure that it shows up with that nice kind of card-looking wrapper around it. I'm also going to add on a class to this thing of hide. The hide class is included with the materialized CSS library that we wired up a little bit ago. If we add on a class of hide to some element, then it's not going to show up on the screen at all. So we can now save this, go back over and do a quick test, and now we'll see that we only see that form by default. So now once the user hits that enter key, we're going to want to take the hide class off of this element and add it onto that one up there. So that's going to hide the first card and show the second. We should probably add on some IDs just to make selecting these different elements a little bit easier. So on the first card panel, I'll add on an ID of, how about message-form. And then on the second div with a card panel class, I'll add an ID of, how about link-form. Okay, so now we can select both these elements really easily. So I'll go back over to my index.js file. At the very top, right away, I'm going to try to select the first one, which was message-form. So I'll do a pound message-form. I'll look at class list, and I'll add the hide class. Then I'll do the same thing. And I'll get the link-form. I'll look at the class list, but this time I'm going to remove the hide class. So again, just going to toggle visibility. Okay, so let's save and do yet another test here. Refresh, a secret message, hit enter, and it all swaps out. And I have that link automatically selected. Okay, so this is definitely the correct behavior. It's exactly what we want. The last thing we should probably do from a styling perspective is just make sure that the kind of card that we're showing here gets drawn a little bit down the screen. Right now it's at the very top, and it would be nice to have this thing just kind of like maybe a third of the way down or even centered on the screen, just so it's a little bit more prominent to someone who's taking a look at our application. So for that, we can add in a little bit of custom styling directly to our HTML file. So I'm going to go back to index.html. At the very top, I'll find my head tag, and right after the link, I'm going to add in a style element. I'm going to select this row right here. So I'm going to just say, select the row, and we're going to add some margin on the top of it just to push everything down by some amount. So I'll do .row. I'll give it a margin top of 25 VH, which essentially means 25% of the total height of the screen. All right, so I'm going to save that. Go back over, refresh, and that's better. So now I can do my message, hit enter, and I get the link. Well, I'd say this looks pretty good. So now the last thing we have to do is make sure that if someone comes to our application and there is some kind of encoded string on the URL, we don't want to show this form at all. Like, we don't want to show that form. We don't want to show the link. We want to show the actual unencrypted message. So if a user comes to our application with that hash in the URL, this is what we want to show to the user instead. All right, so let's tackle that in just a moment.